Hey everyone, and thanks for jumping back into the cryptoverse. Today we're going to talk about Ethereum and the Ethereum USD valuation as well as the Ethereum Bitcoin valuation. So if you guys like the content, please subscribe to the channel, give the video a thumbs up, and also check out the Telegram channel, which you can find a link to in the description below. So we like to keep things, calmer here. Of course, we don't like to get, sucked in by the greed and the FOMO, but to rather make wise choices and calculated risks that we hope pay off. Okay. And this, again, is our Ethereum logarithmic regression band, which is fit to quote unquote non bubble data. And you can see that we spent a lot of time in this regression band during this accumulation phase. Of course, we had this short-term bubble that took us all the way up to around 350 or so. We came back into it. We even had a capitulation below. But for the most part, we spent a decent amount of time within this regression band. And we said, looking back, in hindsight, people are going to wish they bought more Ethereum in this region, right? We made a video saying this was the accumulation phase of a lifetime. We made another video saying this was the reaccumulation phase of a lifetime. And a lot of it was just primarily looking at the idea of essentially just following in Bitcoin's footsteps, right? You look at Bitcoin and you kind of see it go up and then sideways into the bull market support, back up, sideways, back down to hold it as support, and then rally on up. And from where it hit the bull market support over here, it has rallied about 87% now. Okay, and in the same manner, we can see that Ethereum has taken a very similar path, right? It might help if I put on the bull market support band, which we can also apply to Ethereum as well. Let's go ahead and remove these circles so we can see things a little bit more clearly. And we know that we came up, we came sideways into it, up, sideways, held it as support, and then back up. And from Ethereum's bull market support band, we are also up around 87%. So Bitcoin about 87%, Ethereum about 87%. But remember, we don't invest in Ethereum just for the sake of performing the same as Bitcoin. If that were the case, I would argue that, honestly, it would just be better to hold Bitcoin because you get less volatility. We expect more from Ethereum, and hopefully that's what we're going to get. Hopefully that's what we're going to get. And if you look at the Ethereum Bitcoin valuation, it can sometimes feel like the Ethereum Bitcoin ratio isn't making progress, but when you zoom out, you can see that it appears that there very well could have been a key momentum shift in the Ethereum Bitcoin ratio. We've had these channels drawn for a long time. I did slightly adjust them about a month ago or so, but for the most part, this is what we've been looking at for the last year on the channel. And we've had, points at the bottom and at the top and back down sort of to the bottom here, back to the top, and then back to the bottom. And we've talked a lot about this being our next potential Ethereum Bitcoin momentum shift, right? And a lot of people will consider everything besides Bitcoin to be dead until it's not. But we also, we always need to recognize that when Bitcoin goes on a run, and if you didn't believe me before, maybe you believe me now, when Bitcoin goes on a massive run where it goes up 100%, most of the market will sit and watch during that time period. Because even though the Ethereum Bitcoin ratio has rallied recently, from the top of the summer Ethereum Bitcoin valuation, we're still 22% down. Okay, so we're still a far way down from where we were this past summer. And we hope that we can rally back on up. And remember, if you're new here, we've often talked about the move that tends to come of the Ethereum Bitcoin ratio. A lot of times it starts in January. A couple of the years it started in mid-December, right? So this is just what we're looking for. We're looking for a rally of the Ethereum Bitcoin ratio. And I think, I think we could easily say that there's a good chance we're in the beginning stages of it, right? It's already up about 20% over the last couple weeks, right? About 20% over the last couple weeks as measured from the wick, as measured from the candle. It's up about, a little over 10% or so, plus or minus a couple percent, right? What's a couple percent among friends? So with this in mind, with Bitcoin flirting with 19K, or flirting with 20K, I should say. I mean, we're at 19.3. If anything, we're trying to push past 20. With Bitcoin flirting at 20K, with the typical momentum shift of Ethereum against Bitcoin happening historically around this time, a couple times it was mid-December, a couple times it was early to mid-January, but approximately around this time, we've looked at the historical 90-day ROI of Ethereum and recognized that historically speaking, not that history is necessarily an indication of future results, but historically speaking, buying Ethereum in the summer does not work out that well. But buying it in November, December, January timeframe, it tends to be a better time period, right? Buying it in December and selling, say, 90 days later, tends to work out pretty well, historically speaking, when looking at the Ethereum Bitcoin valuation. Again, we're not talking about USD, we're talking about its Bitcoin valuation. So, with that in mind, Ethereum is obviously on a daily time frame to some degree not performing as well as we would want it to compared to Bitcoin's performance. But again, we know exactly why. It's because Bitcoin rallied another 1,000K yesterday, and so this is completely normal. And I would say exercising patience would be very good at this point. In the event that Bitcoin were to dump in the short term, we need to recognize that Ethereum would dump harder. Okay, and I don't think it should scare people away. I mean, in the same manner that we went to 623 and then dumped down to less than 500 on Black Friday, and now we're right back up over 600, you can see how quickly the sentiment of the market can change. So recognize that if Bitcoin were to break above 20K, okay, and then to get nice and comfy above that, then it would likely be Ethereum's time to rock and roll. Okay, likely be Ethereum's time to rock and roll. On the other hand, if Bitcoin were to correct in the short term back down to 16, 17, 18K, we know that Ethereum would likely correct more, but that then Ethereum could get going again. And we've seen that plenty of times in the past where Bitcoin kind of slowly bleeds, but altcoins are doing well. And I don't consider Ethereum an altcoin, but just for the sake of it, altcoins tend to do well if it's a slow Bitcoin bleed rather than a quick capitulation. Because if it's a slow bleed, it can actually indicate that people are just taking Bitcoin profits and speculating on them with Ethereum. I mean, I know I've done that. So that's what it could mean. It does not necessarily mean the party's over if we see a slow Bitcoin bleed. But what would be concerning is when you see moves like we had a week ago or so where Bitcoin's dropping $2,500 in one day, at least in the short term. But remember, when we look out on the grand scale of the market cycle, we're still very early on. Okay, if you're new to crypto, you need to recognize that we have these short-term bubbles that come and go, and that you want to be part of the smart money coming in down here and within the regression band, right? You don't want to be the dumb money pouring a ton of money up here. I'm certainly not buying Ethereum at these levels. But with that said, I still hope and anticipate that it will go up in the event that Bitcoin either stays at 19.3. If Bitcoin could stay at 19.3, that would be incredible for Ethereum. If it could just sit here for a while. If Bitcoin slowly bleeds, still probably good for Ethereum. If Bitcoin goes to 20K and then goes sideways, incredible for Ethereum and likely time to rock and roll. It's an exciting time. I can't tell you exactly what the future is going to bring. What I can tell you, though, is historically speaking, we are looking at a very strong catalyst for the Ethereum valuation against USD and for the Ethereum valuation against Bitcoin. I think we're already potentially seeing the beginning phase of it. In the event of a catastrophic dump, we could obviously come back down here and maybe then recoil and continue on up. But if we don't dump and we continue to rally on up, we're going to say, yeah, what a great time to have switched back from Bitcoin back over to some Ethereum. Again, this is not financial advice. You guys can do whatever the hell you want. I'm just giving you my opinion on the market. So this will be, in fact, a key area to watch. It's hard not to be glued to crypto these days because of the volatility. But I want to give people a fair warning. If it is time to rock and roll, right? So if it's Ethereum's time to rock and roll and it starts moving, and I mean, if it really starts moving, and I'm not talking about a 700 Ether, I'm not talking about an 800 Ether, I'm talking about if it really starts to move and goes to $1,000, $1,200, $1,400 over the next month or two. If it does something like that, I want to remind you to be level-headed. I don't think it would be wise to continue to just pour money into the market. Obviously, it could work out, but also gambling can sometimes work out. So remember, this channel is more about, very smart investing, taking calculated risks that make sense. This included purchasing Ethereum at $100, at $200, at $300, at $400. Now even say $500. But chasing short-term bubbles is not necessarily the wisest thing. And when I talk about short-term bubbles, I mean, there's a good chance we never see $600 again. Imagine a scenario where Ethereum just, let's say Bitcoin gets comfy at this level and Ethereum decides it's time to rock and roll. If Ethereum were to pump to say $1,400 or $1,800, it doesn't mean we're ever going to come back down to 600. We could have a strong correction from there, say back to 1,000 or something. But it still doesn't change the fact that putting money into the market at this very moment at $600 is a lot riskier than it was putting it back in just a week ago when it went down less than $500. And remember, we talk about this a lot on the premium list, so make sure you check out the premium list. We are having a Black Friday sale. You can find a link to that in the description below. You get access to the risk dashboard, which is what I use to trade. In fact, a lot of us picked up Ethereum for about a little less than $500 on Black Friday based on the Ethereum USD risk level going below 0.5. You also get access to the Telegram chat room, the Telegram alerts channel, the trading view indicators. So I know a lot of you guys like these trading view indicators. You'll get access to that as well. You also get access to weekly premium reports and weekly premium videos. So you get access to a whole lot of stuff. If you want to check it out and lock in the lower rate, check out the description below to do so. And I also put in, there's been a lot of interest in people signing up for the lifetime option. So there's also a prorated lifetime option to sign up for the premium list in the description below if you guys are interested in doing that. And that way you just get access to things going forward rather than having to, pay monthly or anything like that. But again, the monthly subscription is usually what I would recommend for people not on the premium list yet, because that way you can see if it's for you. And if it's not for you, you don't want to waste your time going for, say, like the lifetime option. So anyways, I think the premium list does provide a lot of value. We try to stick to mathematics, data science, not standard, support and resistance lines. We've seen how Bitcoin can just blast through theoretical support and resistance, right? Past 6K, past 14K, that sort of stuff. And we don't trade based on this, because at the end of the day, crypto bubbles do not respect oftentimes support and resistance. Now with Bitcoin, obviously 20K is a significant barrier if history is any indication, because upon breaking the prior all-time high, that could be the catalyst that could really propel Ethereum to much higher levels. But again, my contention is, and it always has been, that even if Bitcoin does not get above its prior all-time high, it will not preclude Ethereum from pumping itself as long as Bitcoin can stay bullish. So that's the key takeaway. And recognize that we're following this Ethereum Bitcoin ratio every step of the way. Make sure you subscribe if you're new to the channel and you want some guidance in terms of just looking at some of the metrics that you might not otherwise look at. The Ethereum Bitcoin ratio, in my opinion, is arguably way more important than the Ethereum USD valuation, because I like to measure things based on Bitcoin, and Bitcoin already has a lot of volatility compared to, say, a lot of equities. Ethereum has more volatility. It would make sense to only be in Bitcoin if Ethereum gave you the same return for higher risk. So we expect a higher return for Ethereum, but we pay for it with more units of risk. So if we do see this move and Ethereum decides to rock and roll against Bitcoin, we paid for it. We paid for that return with more units of risk. And you can see how risky it can be when you watch it bleed, right? When you watch it bleed against Bitcoin. The risk is there. The return is also theoretically there if Bitcoin holds a bullish level above the 20-week moving average. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure you subscribe if you like the content. Give the video a thumbs up. We also have the Telegram channel in the description below. And remember to check out the premium list. We'll have the Black Friday sale going on for about one more week or so. I'll put out an exact date here in a couple days so that people can be fully aware. But if you want to get signed up for that, check out the link. It'll stay live for about one more week. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with Ethereum. If Bitcoin holds these levels, goes above the prior all-time high even, or just holds these levels, or dips back down slightly and then goes sideways, I think for Ethereum, it'll be time to rock and roll. Thank you guys for tuning in. We'll see you next time. Bye.